welcome to Foreigner in the Philippines. You know, we get a lot of letters actually, talking about how people are setting up a blog and asking us for our take on it. Oh boy, you got to get used to a lot of things when you decide to do a blog, depending on how dedicated you are. For some people, they think that it's going to bring in a lot of money. It's not likely to do that for quite a time. Well, what time is it now? Let me just, I'm totally unaware of the time. We eat very late. See, it's actually 9:40 p.m. obviously, but it's 9:40 and we're still working. Beth is over there. If I take it and turn and show you there, she's actually working on the phone, and that really has become our lives. So if you're looking for a means of earning a living, depending on what the exchange rate is in the country that you're in, it's pretty good. It's good for us here, because if we were in America, we would be earning far less than minimum wage. When you split it between Beth and I, we'd be earning next to nothing. But when it's times, at the moment, 46, when it's times 46, it's a help. So fortunately for us, I have my pensions, which are painfully modest pensions, because I didn't spend a terrific amount of time paying in, neither in the UK or in the US. I moved to the US in 1992, and I stayed there until I lived there and became an American citizen, and I lived there until 2013, I think. So over 20 years, well, or thereabouts. Okay, so what do you need to do? You need to be totally dedicated to it, to the establishment of your blog. You need to actually do something that you love doing. So whatever shape or form your blog takes, it has to be something that you love doing. If you love doing it and would do it for nothing and can do that, then you really have hit the jackpot. Out of all of the professions that there are in the world, very few would do it for nothing if they suddenly came into a great deal of money. Like, for instance, an airline pilot apparently would fly for nothing if he could afford to. If by any chance his salary ran out, which for some on various occasions has actually happened, he would still do it as long as he could afford to do it. And that is something that has been the way for Beth and I, that we can't be discouraged from doing it by whatever abuse or the trolls and the negativity, of which there can be a lot. It's not something that can discourage us from what we do, because we love doing what we do. So what can anybody do against us that would stop us from doing that, because we would, quite honestly, we would do it for nothing. Now, we've married up our work as vloggers, and we've hooked it up so that it's hand in hand with our mission to help. And that is something that has worked well for us. We've had lots of critics, lots of haters. It just seems to be part of the thing. It doesn't really matter what you do in life. The more that you rise above the radar, the awareness of everybody, the more you will come in for the haters. They're not associated only with people on the net. People have their critics. You know, one of the most incredible people that I met was Larry Malley, and unfortunately Larry Malley was, ironically, he was killed. He died as a result of an accident in which he was, I think it was something to do with a tricycle taxi, and I think that Larry was knocked down and died of his injuries. The ironic thing was that the tricycle that knocked him down was in an emergency, taking someone to hospital. Now, the thing that made Larry this outstanding hero in my mind was that he spent about 30 years as a cop in New York. Now, I don't know whether that was New York City or in the state, but he was a tough cop. But he told me something that was really very profound. He said that on the subject of helping, which is what our mission is, he said that it was harder to help than it was to put a really bad guy behind bars. You wouldn't believe that, would you? That it had more challenges and difficulties associated with helping than that. And Larry Malley started something called Medical Mission Matters, and he got together an incredible team of surgeons who could come in and under MASH conditions, in other words, the basic things. They would be, when we met Larry, we went to Ubay Hospital, and he allowed us to video. You'll find that video among our videos somewhere, but it is on Medical Mission Matters, and he made it possible for literally hundreds of children with the cleft palate to be helped, and they had to be up to a certain age, and he had a very, very definite way of dealing with it. They were wormed and went on a very short sort of like a you know, like a high charged course of vitamins and supplements, which he got to them because these kids were very poor, Filipino, and he helped so many people. I remember walking around that hospital when we met him, and we walked, and the hospital had laid out cots in corridors, and anywhere that they could find a place to put a cot, they put one. And on that cot you would find a mother, sometimes a father, but mostly moms, and they would be there with their child, and whether they just had the operation or were about to or soon scheduled for it, they would say hello to Larry with the utmost respect, bordering on adoration, because of what he was doing. That he had found, he had his spies, and they would come to him and say, we found a child, and he would get to the child. He would put the child on the course of whatever they needed, mainly the one for internal parasites, and then he would set it up. And over the course of maybe a long weekend, something like that, he would bring in his little army of surgeons. And he gave a wry smile when he told me, he said, you know, I don't know why, it's complete coincidence. He said, but they're all beautiful. And they were all young, but highly qualified surgeons, women, and they were all beautiful. And he allowed us to go into the room where they were performing the surgery. And we actually talked to a surgeon while she was performing the operation on a child. It was quite an experience, and that video is there somewhere. So nothing can quite prepare you for some of the things that you will experience. Today we went round and we finished, we paid the final, we paid the balance on a repair that we had done to a motorcycle that was owned by one of our heroes. I think of him as a hero. So courageous in the face of unbelievable bad news, and yet still smiled, and he has still gone on, and he's defied the death sentence that he was given by the surgeon. He was the boy who Beth called the boy with the giant leg, because he had a tumour in his right leg which had grown to such proportions that he could hardly get his leg into his shorts. Now, when we first met him, we went to the surgeon with him, and the surgeon said the leg will have to be amputated. Well, he just wasn't ready for it, because it actually wasn't giving him any pain, and so he left, and we didn't see him for another year or so. I've told this story before, and then he showed up again, and now he was in a lot of pain. And I sat with him in the surgeon's office and received the bad news, and the surgeon gave the news for me as well, in English, and he said something which really took me back. He said, it's not a cure. When he has the leg amputated, I can amputate the leg. It will only help with the pain. That's all. It's not a cure. That begs the question, of course, then what's going to happen? He said, well, he's got about 12 to 14 months, I would estimate. Pretty bad news. We saw Dennis the day after he had had the operation, and he was smiling and cheerful. No aspect about him of poor me, look how badly life has treated, why did God do this? None of that. None of that. He was cheerful and positive and inspirational, really quite awe-inspiring. Anyway, we as soon as he was able to travel, we got him home. That was in Tagbilaran, and since then we've kept in touch with him. And today, sorry, it's taken a while to get around to it, but today we found out that the bike, which had been damaged, once again, coincidentally, having said this about Larry Malley, his bike, when it was being ridden by someone else, had been hit by another, either a tricycle or something like that, and had badly damaged it. Well, we got it disconnected from, when we heard about this, we got the bike to Nesta, and long story short, Nesta has fixed the bike up. So we went today because we had found out that the bike was finished. It's taken a while, maybe, how many weeks, Beth? 2 weeks? Beth?
Yeah.
How many weeks has the bike taken? Is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
3.
3 weeks. So it had a fair bit of damage. Well, we got a new seat on it, reupholstered, and a new back wheel, new chain, new whatever was needed. We got it realigned so that it's not crabbing along the road, or it's going to wear tires out in no time. New wheel, new chain, and the shock absorbers were realigned and got everything. Everything is now working properly. So we've texted the sister of Dennis's girlfriend, and she will get in touch with Dennis and tell him that he can pick his bike up from Nesta's. So that's a little success story that we're happy to relate. And if you are, what we found is that if you do actually try to help people, they are the best human interest stories. So when you're blogging, you need to have stories. You need to be telling about life where you are. That's what we found. And you need to be able to tell a story. You need to make it so that you cut out the real time. Nobody likes to hear a story in real time. My sister, God love her, she's gone now, but my older sister was merciless in the telling of a story, because she told it in real time. She would tell you a story, and it would start, and in the end, or halfway through, you would be struggling to stay awake. Yes, well, it was Tuesday, you see. Now I know it was Tuesday because the milkman comes round on Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning, you see. No, I tell a lie. It's usually about 8:15. See, so he comes round and he leaves, on Tuesday, he leaves 2 bottles of milk. Now, on Wednesday he only leaves 1, you see. And anyway, no, it wasn't Tuesday, was it? No, Tuesday I have 1 bottle, and you see what I mean. In the end you're going, oh my God, Pat, be merciful, let me go. So you need to be able to tell a story, and you need to be able to interest people in what is happening to you. We never find that there's any difficulty in having things happen to us. Whether that's good or bad, I'm not quite sure. But a lot is happening. Now, what can make a story entertaining is not what happens, but how you respond to what has happened. And that sometimes is the trick. So you need to do what you love. Just to sum up, because I've gone off around the houses again, haven't I? You need to sum up what's been happening. You need to love your own life, you know. Now, I am personally so blessed. Beth and I always say that we are blessed because we have a life that we love. There's nothing quite like helping someone in a way that they never thought that they would be helped. Dennis, as we've just been talking about him, Dennis thought that he was going to die, and he's lived. We built him a house. He never thought that was going to happen. We fixed his motorcycle. This is not, we're not the heroes. This is something that we take from our life, helping. And it's funny that people can sometimes think that they don't want to be put out by doing this or that for someone else, and yet it is the most rewarding, most fulfilling thing ever. When I used to travel in Florida, and I used to live close to Cape Coral, and Cape Coral has a bridge going over, and you have to pay a toll. So it was only a couple of dollars, and very often the person in front of you would pay your toll. So when you drove up behind the person who is long gone, the cashier would say, "Sir, your toll has been paid by the person in front." So that would be something that you would repeat, and you would do that. And of course, you would shoot off before the person could thank you, and that's something special. So, thank you for looking in, thank you for bearing with me while I meander. It's one of the things I do. Thanks for looking, and bye for now.